Hey there, so today I want to return to the fertile fields of comics and talk about the Marvel professional slash other Donny Cates. Now Donny Cates, if you don't know him, he's written about 80 books so far this year. Most notably, he works on Venom. He works on other titles as well, Baby Teeth, for example. It got a lot of praise within the small markets out there. And sadly, he's been one of those people that you would think could be professional and yet can't. These days too, I mean, look at all the people that have to make proclamations about the wrong thinkers, the Zerchers, that are supposed to go out. They get attacked, get called alt-right and on by certain places because they unblock people. And yeah, now they're out there, of course, denouncing people day and again, while also saying there are problems within industry. Look at the Scott Schneiders, supposed to be the uber professional, and yet it's got to come out and got to denounce people that are going out and buying comics. Again and again, you see this kind of stuff, dividing the crowd. And well, I'm not surprised by it anymore. I know there are people out there too that say when these folks speak up, when they talk about all this, well, separation, art and artist. We don't make that statement for any other profession. We don't talk about the plumber from the plumbing. We don't say, hey, he may have called me a Nazi, but damn, he fixes a good leak in the basement. No, we don't make that. So why are we doing it here? It's very easy for people to maintain professionalism, and yet, time and again, they can't. So put your money elsewhere, because these folks, they don't respect you. So why should you pay for disrespect? Now, what's interesting about this stuff too is it doesn't start out about anyone out there, about quote unquote Comicsgate. That's the thing. All of these people like to boil the statement on tens of thousands of individuals down to Comicsgate, a label that wasn't self-applied, but of course works out really well because, hey, if you want to say that people are one thing and not the other, if you want to take away the discussions about numbers and professionalism and products, well, we'll just boil, again, tens of thousands of unique voices down to one word. Comicsgate. It doesn't start out with that either. No, here you actually see Donny Cates step out and get on the wrong side of the right thing crowd. Now, of course, when you do that, you've got to take this. You've got to have it go to a certain point, and then you got to take an innocuous tweet. You got to denounce it. You got to denounce it again, and then you've got to take part in denouncing people, of course, as harassers and on. Now, a lot of people just focused on one thing there and said, well, if you don't want to be associated, then that's fine. People don't have to be part of anything. But if you look at the way that this stuff plays out, that's not what transpires. What this person does is they provide value judgments, and they tell you in other tweets beside that they're having conversations behind the scenes with individuals that, of course, are part of this denouncement. They're people that have gone and they have actually targeted individuals' livelihoods, have doxed them. They've done it in the name of quote-unquote anti-harassment. So essentially, talk about products. Well, companies out there, freelancers and on, those people will empower whomever to act and interact however they want. And of course, that gives you the impunity because labels. But anyhow, let's look at how this plays out and on. So here's how we start. Donny Cates, seriously, when is your run over? When can we get back to someone who doesn't suck again? Or is at least not so far out of touch with the character that Clintar would be closer than his own head up his ass? Then you have Lilac Sharks respond here. Seeing as no one else has the stones, let me thank you for voicing this opinion. Pity Donny Cates didn't take it the way he should have, because he never does. And you see his response to what they said here. Posted, worry not, I'm here for a long time. Glad you're enjoying the run so much. Kisses. Ah, isn't that sweet? So this continues on, and Donny Cates responds, and how should I have taken it? Oh man, let me put up this. Let me go back and forth with that, because that's professionalism. That's professionalism personified. So he gets the response. So you're poking fun at the fact that I went to do other things instead of replying to you as soon as you appeared. Wow, Cates, that ego of yours be quite the beast. You might want to stop feeding it. As for how you should take it, I don't know. Maybe some concern that maybe you're doing these characters a great disservice based off your favorite storylines that weren't all that good and rather ruin the character. characters. No one liked Dark Origins. No one liked The Hunger either. You've decided to revive everyone's least favorite version of Eddie and dehumanize Venom, who just had as much of a redemption as Costa could give him. You're also actively antagonizing people who love the symbiote and want to see both of them flourish into something healthier. That's what they have been in the past. The 2000s was a dark era. Marvel Ultimate was a dark world, and Dark Origins was a mistake no one liked. Why not leave that crap buried and write something better? Why dehumanize Venom so much? Why hate Simbrock this hard? Now, when they're talking about Simbrock, that's actually a shipping term when you're talking about putting them together in a relationship. So this is partially a shipping discussion. But continuing on here, Donny Kate says, because I'm writing the book I want to read. If you don't like it, please stop reading it. I'm sure the writer after me will get it just to your liking. So the person responds back, wow, didn't even let me finish my thought before replying. A real class act through and through, Kate's. Now, here's the problem. I'm not going to be bullied out of a franchise that I love just because the guy at the wheel doesn't know how to drive. And actually, I have to say that this exchange, it never had to transpire at all. In fact, when you look at this kind of stuff, what exactly does this bring as a merit to conversation? How exactly does this merit any kind of response whatsoever? I mean, you're talking about a guy that got 9 likes on a post. So you need to go out and you need to show them the what for. You need to get involved in this and maybe run off more people. Yeah, that's the way to play. Now, of course, this person, when they're talking about bullied out, he responds with, no one is bullying you. I genuinely hope you like the book. My friends and I have all worked very hard on it. But hey, if you don't, that's okay. We don't need to fight. No one is making you read it, and I'm not going to course correct because 6 people on Tumblr don't like it. So 6 people there. And of course, look at that. Oh man, sorry Donnie. Sorry you actually got feedback on that. Oh man, terrible stuff, because you're going to get this kind of thing, the back and forth. And again, I don't really understand what the point in sounding off pro or con on this, what it actually made manifest in a positive way. Now, of course, this kind of stuff, it continues to swell and get uglier. So Donny Cates, he goes into damage control mode. I want to very quickly implore all of you to please stop sending hateful tweets and messages to Lilac Shark. We had a disagreement, and that's perfectly okay, but let's try and calm down. No one should be harassed because of this. For my part, I apologize if I let my emotions get the better of me. It's hard sometimes to hear negative things about something you've worked so hard on, but that's no excuse for using the platform to shame someone or make them feel bullied or ganged up on. Okay, so this could have been an actual positive way to leave that. It could have been something, you look at and again, you course correct on. But no, can't leave it at that. It needs another portion. What does it need there? Well, you see this post here, and of course it has that part about the 6th Tumblrite, and it says there's so many pros that want to join Comicsgate but can't do it publicly. So he says, nah man, I'm no one's mascot. I'm not into the Comicsgate thing either. I'm sorry if it's taken me too long to make this clear, but I'm not on your side. Okay, you don't have to identify as anything. In fact, you could have let an innocuous message, another one lay. But again, dividing audiences a second time because, hey, didn't learn anything from the first part. Also, if you look at the semantics of the first thing, if you look at it, what he's saying about sending messages and on, it doesn't apply to those people out there. It's okay to go out, and it's okay to not only be dismissive, but it's okay to actively engage in attacking people because they want products worth buying and they want professionalism. When I say attack too, I'm not talking about this here. What I'm talking about is actively encouraging doxers and on because of course, some things that will be talked about in just a moment. So here you have a second part. I'm so sorry that I haven't come out against Comicsgate stuff before now. I don't have a good excuse except to try and keep my timeline casual and fun. But no one is going to use my art to promote something that has attacked my friends. I'm not about that shit. Full stop. using your art to attack your friends. You know, no one in here was talking about your art. What they were talking about is you basically getting into a feud with a bunch of Tumblrites before you figured out, hey, I'm probably on the wrong side of the right thing crowd. Again, that thing there, and a label you didn't like, which you didn't have to wear, gotta go out, gotta denounce, gotta save those people out there. And then this kind of stuff really, really irritates me. So you have a response to that, which again keeps digging this hole. So you're condemning it now because it affects you personally, but a simple, I really condemned this group last year, if not even earlier, when they were already actively harassing women, people of color, LGBTQ plus creators, was too much to ask since it could have disrupted the fun of your timeline. Okay, but at least now no. And it's not about Kate's. I'm sure there was private support on his part, and of course no one would have believed he ever supported Comicsgate. It's about the generic phrasing and the fact that it only comes up publicly when there's no way to remain in the quote-unquote public gray anymore. This and the fact that we know cis men are always praised, as they've been many times on this particular issue, despite coming forward, being very vocal about it, very, very late in a generic bare minimum way, well after the storm started past for the primary victims of this hate group. So he gets attacked because of his cis status. He gets attacked because he doesn't denounce loudly enough. He's basically put out there. He's told that you gotta act this way. You gotta do it. And you know what? Of course, he needs to do that. He has to. And again, dividing audience over tripe. You know, you're absolutely right. I should have come out against this before, but I am now, and I'll be your ally if you'll let me. I'm sorry I wasn't there when I should have been. Yeah, professionalism. This is it on fire. This is basically what comics looks like, because again, you ask for something that they don't want to give you. They do not want to go out and give you the bare minimum on not mistreating consumers. That's the most amazing thing to me. Why would you pay for this kind of stuff? Because here, you could actively dismiss this first one, saying, yeah, I don't want to have a label there. You could even dismiss this if you really wanted to, although I would have a little more problem doing that myself. But then going in and saying that people, again, label this thing because they talk about things like numbers. They talk about things like the hits that industry takes and the reason for it. And the reasons there, terrible products, lack of professionalism. Yeah, that apparently makes you a harasser of women, people of color, and LGBTQ plus creators. If you don't think that that's how this stuff plays out too, look at the situations with a totally neutral party out there. Alterna. Alterna was attacked for thinking consumers and for having a social media policy that says that you have to individually block, not indiscriminately block, tens of thousands of potential consumers. Within that, not only was that person's livelihood attacked, but the company itself, it had its owner, Peter Samedi, called a harasser of women of color for saying, yeah, I'm not going to stop thanking people. That makes you a harasser of women of color now. I mean, that is quite literally how that plays out. So if you want to be called a harasser of and all of this, well, apparently talk about what you think about a certain product when you go out and you buy it. You talk about the lack of quality with something. You talk about shoddy storytelling. Yep, that basically opens you up not only to condemnation from people wanting you to give money, but they have this idea that you're going to continue to give them money. They think that you're going to continue to pay for disrespect. And you know what? The worst thing is, some people do. Some people, they will never, ever learn from this kind of stuff. Another portion of this that I always find intriguing is, of course, all of the solidarity shown by pros. You know, because these pros, they'll get together, they'll have their little group hug, and of course, everything is okay. I mean, you have Matthew Rosenberg out there. Much love to my homie. He's a good and decent person. If you find yourself at odds with him tonight, you might want to check where you're standing. So I shouldn't ask for professionalism. I shouldn't ask for a good product for my money. I shouldn't say that the highest pricing point ever that was reached this year, it should actually warrant paying for that. What's crazy about it too is Donny Cates, he's actually put out good products. People have supported that. 75,000 units shipped, number 10 for Venom, over 100,000 units shipped when you go to Carnage, and yet when you look at this stuff, it devalues all of that. It devalues the people that are putting money in, because you can go and you can actively dismiss the association part. That's fine. You can go if you want to. You can dismiss further. You can say, hey, this guy making a proclamation, well, you can make excuses for it. But when it gets into calling you harasser of, when these people, they want to dig that, because again, you're not your own individual. You are the amalgam, quote unquote, Comicsgate. You're that thing when you speak up and say, hey, there's a problem out there. And of course, this is what you get for it. This is the kind of blatant disrespect for not just your support, but for you being out there and being involved and having a voice. That's the kind of thing that you're going to get. In this industry, it's not going to change because it hasn't been told that it has to. The people at the upper echelons of it, they allow this stuff. Hell, they encourage it. Why? Because it silences the conversation about what's truly transpiring. The fact that you have a $1 billion monolith and say a Marvel here being the quote-unquote good guys, and you have the people out here, the consumer, the people that pay for the products, they are supposedly the bad people because they talk about, hey, you need to at least respect my dollar, if not the person, and while you're at it, produce something good. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. Also, if you like this kind of content, please consider supporting the channel. Sub, like. I bring new content daily, at least once a day, sometimes many times, because there's a lot of stuff that is always going on. This kind of stuff too, I don't know how often you can beat that drum and say, yeah, here's another pro that you thought could remain professional, that of course isn't going to. How long before you tire of that and you say, enough, I just don't want to deal with that anymore? Because that's where I've gotten to. A person, they have to be supportable. They don't have to be this idea that they may or may not be something. No, if they haven't shown that, if they haven't showcased the idea that they can remain professional, well, screw it. They don't deserve your money. They don't deserve your backing. But anyhow, leave your comments, and as always, thank you for showing up.